appreciate your time. We know that you're really busy and it's valuable time and that you're spending it with us this morning, so thank you. So let's talk about time. Because it's such a limited resource and we all want more of it. And sometimes there can be a learning curve in this industry. When you started off in the business, what real estate tax were you doing that took a lot of time? What were you trying to figure out? How has that changed? Let's talk about how you manage your time.
I'll be really quick because my beginning was so long ago. I cannot remember. Like Zillow did not exist. We had flip phones, so it was a little bit different. So I'm gonna pass because what I did was kind of irrelevant to today. So I'll take a pass.
So one of the things that I think at the beginning I was spending a lot of time with clients in ways that could have been trimmed down. And one of the ways, like older realtors or more veteran realtors would speak and say, hey, you have to do the buyer's consultation. I'm like, I got this, I don't need a buyer's consultation. And you know, after showing a client 32 homes in 2 days, I decided like, yeah, let me try that again. And so now I have a very streamlined process, and I don't care if you bought 50 homes, I don't care if you bought one home, everyone has to go through a buyer's consultation. So at that buyer's consultation, I'm able to set expectations, also give back my time because I set boundaries and let them know, hey, you know, you can text me anytime, but if it's after a certain time, I probably won't respond to the next day, but it doesn't mean you're not important. Let them know, they're like, oh no, I appreciate that. We know how much your family means to you. And then I'm like, hey, I don't work on Sundays. So if you text me on Sunday, they always start off like, hey, I know you don't work on Sundays, so I won't respond. And I'll respond on Monday when I'm back working. And by having those buyer's consultations, the process has become so streamlined that they know what to expect. So where you're showing clients, some people show 10 houses. I couldn't fathom that. I'm showing them between 1 and 3 because the process is so streamlined. So that means I can also take on more clientele at a higher pace. And they seem to be happy. Most of my clients pre-pandemic, would find their house on their first house. Now it's more like their 4th house, unless we get outbid, and it's a little different. But yeah, ideally just the buyer's consultation and having boundaries and just being very efficient.
Awesome.
I'm definitely going to say that's the most important thing in real estate, owning your business. You're not an employee, you're a business owner. You treat your business like a business. Your time is valuable, and you need to be unafraid to let people know that. But one thing I would also say, especially with new agents coming on board, and that's the squirrel mentality. Shiny, 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 shiny. You will be hit with a dozen different tools and systems, and it will make your head swim. And everything and everybody is going to tell you, this is the next best thing. This is going to get you business. This is going to get you business. And you're going to spend a ridiculous amount of money, time, and energy for something that doesn't work. You have to work within your ability, what works for you. Like I found 2 or 3 tools. I'm not a techie guy, but I found 2 or 3 things that work for me, and I got them. So that's one thing I would encourage you to find what works for you and your personality.
Well, that's a great segue into my
I
next
know.
question.
Wait a minute, it's like you knew.
There are tons of tools out there.
Yeah.
Which ones do you rely on in your business?
One of my favorites is NAR RPR. So it
What's
gives you
that again?
NAR RPR.
Okay.
So
Write it
.com.
down for you.
NARRPR.com. It's a free service provided to you from the National Association of Realtors, so that you get a little something back from your dues. It's not a say-all be-all, but it's a great starting point when you're doing a CMA, when you're doing marketing, because now they have all these different tools within this one system to help you send flyers, neighborhoods if you're canvassing a certain neighborhood. So you don't have to have a bunch of different systems. So that's one of my favorites.
Mine too.
Well, currently I'm using a KV Core, and then also I use Text Community, and then I was introduced to Dot. So let's talk about, I guess, each one. KV Core is a client relations management system, CRM. And I really like it because it helps with the follow-up. So I have actually an assistant that makes my calls and do my follow-ups. However, it allows me to go in and check everything to make sure, like, if we have past dues and just kind of organize my business. With text community, it's a texting service, so it allows like people to be communicating, like to communicate with me through text message, so they're not like blowing up my phone, but it allows me to get information out to my core audience. And then what was the other one I mentioned? Dot. So Dot is basically, you purchase it online. It's like $40-something. You put it on the back of your phone, and anytime you come across somebody, you just touch their phone and they can have all your information in their phone, from all of your social media to your phone number, email, everything. So that's what I
just
use.
DOT.
DOT.
Okay, does anybody else here have that? That sounds so cool.
Another one is Pommel,
Yeah.
P-O-P-L.
Oh, okay.
There's also Haystack, so yeah, there's a couple out like
Yeah.
that.
I haven't seen that one, but I have mine.
And you can also, it also comes with a card.
Yeah.
So you can use the card or you can use the Dot.
Like a QR code thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tools, the tools I'm gonna mention, I went back very foundational, okay? So my thought process going into it is, if this tool disappeared today, I would totally be devastated, like could not operate. Number one is this. My journal / to-do list / data dump. Every day I write everything down in here that needs to be done, whether it's personal, family, whatever. And if I lose this, oh my gosh, the world is over. And I need to write in order for it to connect to my brain. So doing it on my phone does not work. The second thing is my phone. So I'm getting very foundational, but my phone as a phone to make phone calls. Not text messages, not social, not this and that. So if I lost my phone, I'm getting a new phone today and I'm panicking about like just transfer stuff. I'm so nervous about that. But you've got to have the phone. And then I think the third thing is the CRM, having a good CRM that works for you and that you use. Now personally, I have 2 CRMs that is on purpose, but I really only use one for the most part. The other one is kind of the catch-all area. And then the last thing is a transaction task manager of some sort. So if you use like Top Producer for your CRM, it's already built in. I use one called Next, which is $15 a month. It's so nice and easy, and all it is transaction management. And I think starting out, that's been a valuable tool, and still to this day, even though I do have transaction coordinator and listing coordinator and staff, still logging in every day to make sure everything is being taken care of is really important to me. So those are the 4 things that if I lost those today, I would be.
Everyone needs an Amy.
That's true. But I have a follow-up to Amy's this time. So, but if I lost any of those 4, like things, I would be totally out of sorts. So I got very foundational. So.
No, that's perfect. I mean, that's what we want. We want the whole gamut. You have people that are heavily relying on technology, and then you have people that don't. And so it's good to be able to talk to everyone. So let's talk about a little bit more about time and how we manage it. So how do you all manage your time? Do you utilize time blocking? What do you do to make the most of your day? Anyone can start.
I use time blocking. I schedule everything from my morning ritual to what I'm doing with my children to my free time. The reason why I do that is because if you have an assistant too, they have to be able to clearly see what you have going on. But it also sets a foundation because my schedule is so rigid. Like if I tell a person now, if you call me and you say, hey, Ieshia, I wanna get together, I wanna do lunch. If it's not on the calendar, it does not exist. And that's kind of how you have to be. So if you're serious, as soon as someone says, I wanna schedule this, I pull out my phone and I put it on the calendar. So I think time blocking is important because it actually gives you more time. Like I said, my children, They come first, they're part of the business, so they also understand and they get it, very independent children. But they play travel track, like I was telling the AAU, and they do travel competitive gymnastics, and then we volunteer, we do a lot of stuff. So I use my time blocking for sure.
Yeah, the same for me. My mornings are mine. So I tell everyone, whether it be a client, friend, family, whatever, before 9 and after 9, I am not touchable. You don't call, you don't text, you don't do nothing. Because if you do, I am not gonna respond unless it's an emergency. And if you call me before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. and it's not an emergency, I've been known to fire clients for that. That's disrespect. So I demand the respect that I give. So if you can't respect my time and you're gonna call me up at 11 o'clock crying over something that cannot be taken care of at that moment, I will fire you. So, and I've let my agents know that as well. I am not someone to be disrespected. So my time is mine after 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Whatever you need, I will make myself available. And I'm old school too. My calendar, I don't use my Google. People like I'm gonna send it on Google Calendar. Like if I don't write it down, it's not gonna happen. So if my phone bings and there's like something on my calendar, yeah, man. So you gotta make sure I write it down.
I think I did text you one time after 9, I'm so sorry.
But that was more of a friend thing. So.
But you know what, I think like if you haven't been in this business for a long time, what he's saying could sound very rigid and like, oh my gosh, but you build a certain interior, like you have to learn to set boundaries, and it almost makes you feel like if you don't set these boundaries, you'll lose yourself in it all, because no one will respect you if you don't make them respect you. And I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's an agent, whether it's a client, even friends and family, like, you know, that's one thing, like I don't take personal calls during a certain period of time. And I have 2 separate phones for, that's another thing, 2 separate numbers, one for business and then one for personal. But that's why he sounded so. It's their experience, you know.
9 to 5, why would they expect you to come in and dry clean?
Well, they don't expect us as realtors to have a life.
I know
I mean,
that
you can't have a family emergency, you can't, you know, be at a function, like, I can't believe you're at a function and you're not selling my house, like, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So, your house is gonna sell, so.
Yeah, but you get that call at midnight from the drunken client, and they, you know,
I've been there.
yeah, you set boundaries.
That was not me. That was not me.
And that actually goes as agents too. I think a lot of agents don't respect other agents' time. So, and I've had agents call me literally at 10 o'clock at night to go over something in a contract, and I'm like, are you out your mind? I'm not working right now. I'm not opening up my phone, I'm not opening up my computer. This can wait until tomorrow morning. You know, and then I've had some interesting conversations with agents. They're like, oh no, I'm putting this offer in. Yeah, you can do it, and I'll see it in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, just because you're working at 1 a.m. does not impress anyone.
Wouldn't it be interesting if we were all required to set boundaries? Like, wouldn't our world be different if everyone did? Yeah, that would just.
Well, and piggybacking on that, you know, I find that it's best to define expectations at the beginning of the relationship, no matter what it is. So that everyone's on the same, and that buyer's consult, everyone's on the same page about when you're gonna communicate, how you're gonna communicate, and what everybody's going to do. So that when they have those freak out moments at midnight, they know, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna call David in the morning and he'll take care of it.
Exactly.
And then you can do things like what I do, because I'm a phone person and I do work late at night. You know, I'm not the morning person, I'm the night person. So I can take a call feasibly at 10 o'clock at night, and that's when you actually have my undivided attention. Like, if you wanna talk to tomorrow, call her at 9:30. And now I'm like, okay, let's talk. But at midnight, my phone goes to sleep automatically. So if you call me or text me, it doesn't even respond till 8 o'clock in the morning. And that helps me stop for the day. it prevents, because I have a very strong energy, so I'm careful on how I speak to things. So David might get away with that, with the adult call, I'd be like, oh my God, so I'm like, okay, my phone won't ring. And you can call me and text me all night, and I won't know. So you can use your do not disturb, and then you can work on your favorites list where certain people can call and come through with that. Yeah, but teaching people how to treat you, defining your boundaries, cause I work 9 to 9 too, and sometimes it's 9:15, I'm like, I'm texting real quick. you know, but it's true because, that helps you maintain balance in your life between your business and your family and your personal, so. Use the technology while you're better understanding your own boundaries. You know, you can have the phone stop for you, you know, to help keep business in its proper bucket.
That's a great tip.
You know, cause burnout is real.
Very.
So I've seen a lot of agents go 24/7 and then next thing you know, they're dropping out of real estate altogether.
Yeah.
You know, because they could not manage their time.
And even with social media, manage your time. Believe it or not, in my calendar, I have a time that I check emails and Facebook. If you do not, you will be scrolling all the time, and 9 times out of 10, what you're scrolling for is gonna end up just turning into just a bunch of things. And like people see me like on social media all the time because I get a good bit of my business from there. But even though I'm on there, I'm not on there. I post it and that's it. And I know what time I'm gonna post. I know all of that. So, you know, like check your emails like once in the morning, once in the middle of the day. And now obviously you're gonna alter that if you're in the middle of a negotiation or something like that. But for the most part, having boundaries like, okay, with yourself, like check my emails at 9, I'm gonna check my emails at 1, I'm gonna check my emails at this time. And I remember an agent would text me, did you give an offer? Did you give an offer? Did you give an offer? And I'm like, I check my emails at 1 o'clock, so after 1, I'll be able to let you know, because I'm training myself to not have that need, because you get addicted to looking at the emails. Like you'll be in the bed, oh, what's in my email? You know, you'll be sitting at the red light too long. What's in my email? And you can't be like that. You have to give yourself time, and I don't mean time like so you can do necessarily.
Who's guilty of that? Anyone
But,
checking their emails at the red light?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it gives you just internal time that's more so allow your mind to breathe a little bit more. So, yeah.
Alright, Brooke, what about you? Do you have?
Yeah, I do time blocking, cause I have a family as well. We do travel volleyball and all sorts of stuff. So, my hours are 8:30 to 4:30. That sounds really weird, but I can do that.
Same.
The first thing is my philosophy is incoming calls are only new leads. So if that's my philosophy and I get a phone call asking for an update, I have absolutely failed. So part of my time blocking is proactive calls to follow up and to answer questions, to create emails easily to send. Common question is, walk through, what happens at the walkthrough? What do I do? Do I need to do this? Da, da, da. I created videos that just says, okay, seller, here's what to expect. So I try to front load a lot of that stuff. So incoming calls are for new business only, has really helped with the time blocking. The second thing is in management, I realized there are 3 times a day that problems occur. They only occur 3 times a day. 11, 2:30, and 4:30, which is why my hours are done at 4:30. 11, 2:30, and 4:30. That is when as a manager, we get the call that something is blowing up or something is falling apart or what do I do? And then going back into sales, those are the times that agents call. Just check it out. Look at your data log and see when agents start calling you.
It's a little after breakfast.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
just before the end of the day.
people don't get out of bed until like 11 o'clock, I'm telling you, most agents do not. So I know where my energy levels are during the day. I'm a morning person, so I get all my priority stuff done before 11. It has to be done before 11. So that's lead generation, following up with clients, and sending proactive being proactive in a transaction. And then after 11, I can just be reactive for the whole rest of the day, and I can do things in my schedule where being reactive is okay. Admin work, data entry, you know, putting posts together, marketing, things like that doesn't require that much of my energy. And then the third thing that is most invaluable is my phone has 0 notifications. There are no red bubbles with a number on my phone. The only time my watch does anything is if I'm getting a call. It doesn't make any noise. My phone doesn't make any noise either. So I have no red bubble on my text message. I have no red bubble on my email. My email isn't even on the front screen. I have to scroll 5 pages to get to it. So I put the barriers in place. Email is not an instant messenger. Phone call is an instant messenger. So if you need something, you know, you have to make a phone call. Training the client is absolutely important. And I use the do not disturb, 8:30 and 4:30. Now, if I'm expecting something or if I'm planning on making a phone call or need to talk to a client later in the day, that's perfectly fine. It's an appointment we have set. Or if I'm negotiating something, of course, the boundaries are a little bit skew then. But I wake up at 4 in the morning and I go to bed 8:30. So no, I'm not doing stuff after that. So, but I think that's one of the scariest things is to turn off the notifications. But it's one of the most freeing things as well. And I also just like use schedule 3 times a day email, 2 or 3 times a day return calls.
And then one of the valuable things that she said at the beginning, where you are training your clients, like she has a time when she follow up. So I do mine by days, and I let them know ahead of time. So if I'm dealing with the seller, they know to expect my call on Mondays, anywhere from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's when I deal with them, unless we obviously get an offer and we need to present that and have a discussion. But otherwise, they don't need to question me every day what's going on with my house. And I mean,
Don't question it.
yeah, you know, because even think now, you know, with the market changing, and if you have listings in the over 500,000 mark, they're nervous because they're seeing them sit. And the crazy part is our market is still a really good market. It's just that we have to retrain the clients now, where they're not seeing it go one day. So you mean we're not gonna get 1,000, 3,000 over asking, you know? So you have to retrain them. And so part of me being able to transition back to retraining them is through the email or the call on Monday between 9 and 12. So.
You know, I'm actually gonna recommend that Brooke send these videos because I'm intrigued with his videos.
Yeah.
Maybe share them
Yeah.
with the groups, you know.
Sure.
Like, send them to share. Yeah, it's great. It's just
All you
great.
have to do is just share them with me and I'll share them with everybody.
I'll send some to you.
But yeah, I think that's a
Really
brilliant
good.
idea.
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, and people really appreciate it. And then there's follow-on questions afterwards, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I need to update the video. Make sure those questions are answered, yeah.
Well, you all gave some really good examples of how you run your business and try not to let it run you, and we really appreciate that because that can be a huge hurdle for any of us, no matter how long you've been in the business, to deal with. And especially I love David's analogy about the squirrel and shiny things, because that is certainly what it feels like sometimes. Everybody's going after their nuts. So, so let's talk about how we leverage relationships. And it's all about, like I said, I'm a firm believer that you're only as good as the tools in your toolbox. And this industry, there are some fantastic partners to partner with, and we have some in the room today. Who have you added to your team that is an invaluable tool or resource to you? You know, lawn, landscaping, home care, maintenance, photographer, admin, etc. Who helps you guys out?
All of those things.
Yeah, I'll go real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
So I know, so first off, especially new to the business, don't add all these people all at one time. Like it's a ladder. Like you take one step at a time, and then when you get as far as you can go on that step, then you add the next person. So I remember years ago when Keller Williams first came to the area, and everyone was reading the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which is an invaluable tool. So I'm not Keller Williams, but I do recommend you guys read that book. Some people just went right ahead and started hiring like 17 buyer agents. I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't even have a client yet. Like, how is this gonna work? So, and you don't learn the process. So the first thing I did when I got back into sales is right away hired an assistant. So that was my first hire. And I know it's scary because you have to pay them and you can't like pay them off a commission. Like you need to W-2 them and all that kind of stuff. So there's resources available for that. Then the next was a transaction coordinator, and Amy, my transaction coordinator, is in the back. She's awesome. Then I started to add agents into the team, then a marketing director, and then a listing coordinator. So things are just building up. But other people that I brought in, photographer is very, very, very important. My closing processor, I have one seller closing processor and one buyer closing processor at RGS Title. I use them. So that streamlines everything, which is awesome, and I consider them part of the team. Contractors, I have a program, Pineapple Projects, so Pineapple is my thing, guys. So just so you know, we can talk about that offline. But Pineapple Projects will help folks renovate their homes. There's no money out of pocket, and then it's just paid at the closing type thing. So if you've seen like unsellable houses
Yes,
on TV,
Oh my God, I was just
That's what
watching
I
that, I did
do.
not realize that that's what they did, so.
yeah. So I have 4 projects going on right now with that. So that's a lot of fun because you've got the contractors in there, painters, everything. The other thing people always ask for are cleaning companies. So make sure you have a good cleaning company. I love Professional Edge Cleaning. You can go professionaledgecleaning.com. The owner is local, and that's a cleaning concierge. So you say, your client says what they need done. They want this power washed, they need the shed cleaned out, and they need a move out cleaning on the inside. Like, you go to one place and she takes care of arranging all of that for you. It's very, very, very nice. So cleaners and a stager is very, very important right now. Both, so virtual staging with people living in the home, like helping with accessories and furniture placement, and then also obviously furniture, like the traditional model home type staging stuff. So those are the extra people that I use all the time.
I guess it depends on where I'm at. So with my listings, I have a relationship with my home. I do pre-inspections, appraisals, house cleaning, contractors, all before the home goes on the market. Even if I have to get on the market in a week, it still happens because of those relationships. So one of the things I know is that if you are loyal and consistent with the people you're working with, and of course they're doing a good job, because if they're not, you should let them go because they represent you. But they will fit you in no matter what. So even down to the septic companies that I choose to use, like they can have a schedule 15, 20 days out, but by having that relationship, I can usually get it done a lot faster than the average person. And then lenders, I used to use just one lender, and unfortunately, one of the lessons that I personally learned, and take it, how you will, is that they get comfortable. And especially when it comes to your clients, you have to be very particular because they represent you. And sometimes they start to let things fall by the wayside. So I have a network of a few lenders that I use, and I try not to give all of them all of my meat and food because they will eat it, get fat, happy, and so I do use a few lender partners, and that would be my suggestion there.
Let's say, and those of us as lenders in the room really agree with that. That's
Yeah.
And so personality difference
Yeah.
as well.
Personality, yeah.
different
So-
options, availability, compatibility.
Yep, and then
You wanna
that's
make us
another
fight
thing.
Too, right?
And I mean, that's why it's good to have a good relationship with all the lenders, because I mean, they're happy if they have 30 agents and they send them 1 or 2 people out the year, it still helps their business as well. But you have to protect your business when you are recommending these people. And even though you are telling your clients that these people, you're recommending them, you have to still let them know, like, hey, you know, I'm not necessarily guaranteed, cause like, you know, with a contractor, they can be great for 6 months and then 4 months bad and then good again. So, I try to protect my clients from that and also protect my name, cause it means a lot. So anyway, I do have a caller, that calls, but her job is more like from a customer service. I'm not like a person that like truly like chase leads, so we get some leads here and there, that's great. But I have her on a follow up with my clients regularly, like every 4 months, every 6 months, once a year, because people will forget about you.
And this person, you like an inside sales agent kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what her title is.
Are they typically licensed realtors?
No.
Okay.
Now my actual assistant is a licensed realtor. That's the one that does like all of the input in for the listings and all of the transactional stuff and things like that. But this assistant is actually overseas. So I've worked with her for 2 years. So you would not know she was overseas. She sounds like she's right around the corner. Oh, you want to move further south? I totally, you know, she's well trained there. So she's all the way over there. But we have a great relationship. We include her in everything. Sipping pains. She's in, you know, her country. It's morning, but she's got her wine and her paint sent in ahead of time, stuff like that. And what is, yeah, I don't have all these fancy things. I know, right? I don't have all those fancy things that she has, but more so of the outside vendors, learning to delegate. And I think that's the biggest part, knowing that you have a partner you can delegate to. So even with a lender, like referring your clients back to certain lender things. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And title company, right?
One thing I would recommend is network with FAAR. We have sponsors for a reason.
Yep.
And I try very hard to give most of my business to other FAAR members. So if they're giving money, because I will ask for a lot of money, because I do a lot of volunteer work in the community, and I have no problem coming up, I need an iPad. So we're gonna do the silent auction, or I need you to help sponsor this event or that event. And that's great. I mean, it could be a photographer, it could be, you know, a home inspector, it could be a mortgage company. But I'm a big member of the community. I believe in giving back. And I want to work with other providers that give back. And I will tell you, the people within FAAR, most of the sponsors, they give back within the community. So that's one thing. Another thing I just started using for my business specifically, instead of hiring an assistant, per se, I actually am now working with Upwork. So I actually have people all over the country and in other countries doing follow-up calls. So instead of and I just pay per hour. So you pay, they don't, you know, all they're doing is setting appointments. They don't answer any questions about real estate. Their only job is to confirm or set up appointments. So, and that's working actually really great without having to hire somebody full-time. You can actually just hire somebody for 180 hours over a 4 or 5 month period.
So it's Upwork, you said?
You have to Upwork. And they actually have specific real estate people that do that.
What was the name again?
Upwork,
Okay.
Upward.
Upwork, yeah. And it's great because they work through Slack, so you do everything through Slack. I mean, when they're setting up or when they log in, how many hours, how many calls they've made, everything's recorded. So you can listen to the recordings, because you have to be very careful of what they say and don't say if they're not a licensed agent. So all they're doing is, if you're interested in speaking to an agent, then they'll transfer it, and then one of my agents will catch the call.
So that's probably, going back to earlier, one of the tools I use is called Ring Central. And that's what I use for my assistant to call. It's only like $60 a month, and they can call and you can listen to all of the calls. So I'd like to keep her on her toes. So I'll randomly start listening to calls, and it was a process though. Like I started out with, we meet every day at this time to this time, and then as I trusted more, 3 days. So it's a process, and you know, I wouldn't jump into getting an assistant. I know nobody really, you know, mentioned that until you know that you really have the time to train the assistant and also you have, like, I don't know, like you actually have stuff for them to do and it's organized. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. Because if you don't train them consistently, they're not gonna remain having the same passion for your business as you do. And that's the one thing I can say is the assistant I have is phenomenal. She has the same passion and big picture as I do in my business.
You know, there's a lot that I've just kind of heard all of you like touching on these things. And I think that as someone that is new in the business, sometimes you just don't know what you need. So it's not about, but you know, like I'm hearing all these new things and stuff that you can do. I still write in a book too. I use both. But I mean, like sometimes like you don't know what you need. You don't know what to ask. And again, that's why like when we come here and we talk about like networking ahead of time, when we're talking about getting involved with what's going on here, you've got this other group of people that you're like, hey, remember we were talking about this? I found this. And then someone says, oh, I found this. And it's sharing the information so that we are all better as the real estate community.
I know they want us to seem like, you know, we're all enemies, you know, like, oh, we're fighting the listing agent, we're fighting the buyer's agent, but that's not the case. I have really good relationships with all of the realtors. I mean, of course, some burn bridges, but other than that.
Those people don't get up here, that's where that, people do not last.
Yes.
You know.
Those people don't even show up to YPN.
So, you know, working together with people like how you just said that, I'm one of those people like, hey, you know, when we did that panel and you spoke about this, do you mind sharing a little more about that? So don't be afraid to just ask that, because if you see me, I'll talk to you all day. I'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yes.
And you will learn so much more.
Yes, as long as it's within your timeline.
But you definitely will learn more from each other than you will from, you know, taking classes. I mean, yeah, you'll learn a lot, but just network with each other. I mean, when I first started being an agent, I would come here like almost every day and I would assault people before my license was even active. And I'd be like, teach me something. Yeah. And I'd be like, tell me something I don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. And I met so many great agents that are just so willing to give of themselves. And we are not enemies whatsoever. We all work together because your clients are not my clients. And the likelihood we ever go against to get the same person is highly unlikely. So we can share, we can, you know, share techniques and share things that work for us. You know, and you know, horror stories. I love horror stories because that's when you learn about the most.
So sometimes it's learning what not to do instead of learning what to do.
Yes.
Well, and it's not a one size fits all. So what tools and tips might work for you won't work for the next person. And it's all about really finding what works for you and what makes you comfortable to get out there and to shine and to succeed. So you guys have shared some great insight and really appreciate it. And I'm a firm believer that the better we are as an industry, the better we are as an industry. I want the person sitting across the table to have the education and have the training so that it's a smoother transaction for us all and for the client. And we all come out of it with a good taste of it. And wanting to do it again, right? So let's talk about, you touched on it a little bit, but with so many realtors and so much competition, it's important to stay top of mind. And it's really easy with everything and all the chaos that we have coming at us for people to forget about you. So what are some of the things and tips and tricks that you guys use to stay top of mind with your clients?
I'm laughing because you called it tricks. I hypnotize. And every time I hear a bird chirp, I think from it.
Now I'm thinking the pineapple.
Branding definitely is part of it. Top of mind, and I think the question was on a little bit more like after the sale. And you can see the statistics that right after the sale, like most people are like, oh yes, I absolutely would use my real estate agent again. But then in reality, only like 20% actually do. So that's a disparity of a lot. And it means people didn't keep in touch afterwards. So my whole business is built on referral. 80% of my personal business is referral. The other 20% is like relocation or a random postcard, or I'm a Dave Ramsey ELP, so I don't call that a referral, that's a lead. So things like that. I keep the relationship going. When I say in my time block I do lead generation, I call 5 people every single day, and these are people that I have worked with in the past, they've referred people to me. We keep the relationship going. I write at least 10 personal notes, handwritten, stamped, return address notes every single week. I write a lot of thank you notes, tons of stuff like that. I do a lot of mail. People get mail, people get an e-newsletter. I send videos every now and then. This Saturday, we are hosting about 250 clients to a private screening of the Jurassic Park movie. So we do like fun stuff like that.
And what theater, what time?
Saturday morning. And I pop by and I visit and I keep it going, and people really appreciate that. But you have to have a system, a CRM, that helps you organize so you know who to call, you know who to write, you know who to do that with. And when I call, people are like, well, what do you say when you call? Well, if you already have a relationship and you're following them on Facebook, you can say, how did the baseball game, or like a lot of people are not coming to the movie because baseball's happening. So I'm gonna follow up with people about the baseball tournament next week and remind them at the end, you know, if you know someone who could use my help, just let me know. So that's how I stay top of mind. Again, very old school, but it works, and people are craving relationship more now than ever before. I mean, I think we have all these clients coming this weekend because people wanna go to a movie, first off, but people just wanna be with other people more than ever before. So the more personal you can deepen the relationship more and more and more. That's important. Celebrating birthdays, we just do lots of fun stuff. One of the 3 tiers of my business, the last one is fun. So we always have fun.
So what are the other
Yeah,
tiers?
Impact, excellence, and fun.
Awesome.
Alright, so I have a plethora of things that I like to do to stay top of mind. So when I was new to the business, it wasn't anything that I would not go to. So I've been to bar mitzvahs, baptisms, birthday parties, weddings, you name it, I was there. And funny enough, it wasn't because I was like, just, oh, I wanna get business, but I was just trying to make that relationship happen and stick at the very beginning. So over the years, I've been able to narrow that down to like my top 30, you know, and then I'm able to commit to going to these holiday parties, baby showers, and all those things, because you will get burnt out on that. And so like even like with holidays, I have a deadline for when invitations are due to me. If I don't have an invite by a certain time, I'm not going, because I just had to learn to say no. But because I have children, some of the things I do, like I may go to Braehead Farm and I may invite like 10 or 11 moms that have similar age kids, bring them out, you know, get everybody in and let them meet each other so they have friends, because I deal with a lot of relocation. So, you know, most of them, like all these kids that they've had, they're pretty much, I'm like everybody's auntie with all these kids. And I watch them walk and go and grow and all that. And once a year, well actually twice a year, spring and fall, before COVID, but now we're back to it. I do a client appreciation event, but I make it only fun. And you cannot talk about business there, like even if they come and like, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house, girl, we here to have fun. Because people like when you brush that off to let them know you really, you know, care about them. I get out there, I race with the kids, we play catch football. They're like, oh, she's so cool, you know. And then my kids, you know, unfortunately, they are really trained because they've been in this business. So they know to keep the kids occupied and have fun. They're like master networkers. I'm sorry, they are.
Girl, don't be sorry. Your girls are awesome.
Yeah, they are something else. So one of the things I believe doing if you're gonna do a client appreciation event, especially if you're new, is to try to bring it together with something that's already happening in the community, because it'll make it a lot more cost effective and more exciting, and then more people are there, so it seems bigger than what it is. So with, I do Braidhead FAAR, usually when they're having their fall event. So then I just pay for the extra cost for those wristbands, and everybody come in. And then I used to cook, I don't anymore because they love my cooking. I would cook like all these wonderful meals, and they were like, man, I just love that food. Even to this day, they still talk about it. I've done individual things where I have my partner get all the male clients together to do like a whiskey and cigar night. And then I did a ladies' night where they had the massages. I hired some male models. And they, yeah, I know. Right?
I lost, I didn't get that invite.
I know. And they basically catered to the women. Like when they came in, they gave them roses and they poured their wine, helped them in and out of their seat, and offered hors d'oeuvres, and they were very handsome because I did the casting call. You know, we just had fun, you know, and yeah. And so, you know, I like to have fun with them. And then
I'm sure you stayed top of mind after that.
Oh yeah. That was like 4 listings from that
You
one.
were top of everyone's mind.
Yeah. They still talk about it, you know. But then like you know, going online, being authentic, being genuine, sharing. Unfortunately, people want to know more about your life. And then I wrote a book and all these things. So people just like following me and what I'm doing. So that's how I stay top of mind. Yeah, so 95% of my business is referral based. Yeah, so I do some of everything. Oh, sorry, last thing. In my database, if I meet with them, we can have lunch, breakfast, whatever. When I go back to the office, I write everything they possibly said, everything in that one database. So the next time we connect, you know, I can follow up on those things. Yeah, so.
So actually, with piggybacking off the database, so in mine, after every closing, I put them on a drip. So for 5 years. So for 5 years, you're gonna get at least 4 emails from me. And then I also do all the holiday emails and all that good stuff. But another thing I do is about every couple months, I will send a text to all of my buyers. Then the next time I'll do all the sellers. And the text says, hey, I was just thinking about you, how you doing? That's it. That's it. And that, in some cases, will open up a conversation. And it's, you know, just a simple couple lines. And some are just fine or whatever, but, or I get the whole list. You know, the neighbors are, you know, don't like the neighbors, or this neighbor's moving, yada, yada, yada. But all it takes is something very simple. Because, you know, some people, I mean, you call people nowadays, it goes right to voicemail. So sometimes there's this very simple text. I also hold 2 or 3 events a year, usually for a charity event. So the next one is the 2nd annual Papa's versus Tatas. There's a flyer downstairs in Summit Mortgage, go check it out. So usually I'm always raising money for either the foundation, Realtors Foundation. So when, you know, we were asking you Realtors for money, remember it's going to a good cause. But when we are doing those events, whether it be for the foundation, for Operation Hood, for the Lions Club, whatever, I send an invitation to all my clients. Just to let them know, hey, I'm doing this in the community. I'd love to have you join me. Bring me your money. But I also want them to know that I'm more than just a sales guy. You know, I'm not just all about real estate. You know, I'm also in the community, and I want to bring you into the community. So.
I think one of the best things, and I hear it from both of you guys, and I've fallen out of habit of doing this, but I need to bring it back, is when you're hanging out with your friends, because all these clients become friends, and they ask you a real estate question, I have said, okay, let me put my real estate hat on.
Yes.
And I'll answer that question, because I want them to know that the relationship is not because I want business from them or expect them to give me business. It truly is a relationship. So I've fallen out of habit of that, so you guys just remind me I need to do that. But come up with something like that where you show a separation and a boundary.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, I have the broker hat, the agent hat, the friend hat, and then the Sherry hat. Yeah, basically means I need bail money.
That was the text after 9.
Wait a minute,
No, you were paying to keep me in jail.
That's right, I was paying,
Yeah, she was-
I paid to get him arrested. to
So,
keep him in
yeah,
jail.
the Relay for Life had a jail bill, and she was literally paying people to keep me in jail.
I actually paid the cops to come and arrest you,
Yeah,
that's right, yes.
so.
Okay, alright.
Love it, all great tools, and really, you know, the common theme is that people want to know that you care about them, that you care about them as individuals and not as dollar signs. And make those connections with your clients, with your associates, with everyone. We're all here to make money, but it's important that you structure yourself in a way that people want to give you their business, because a lot of times this is going to be their biggest sale or biggest thing that they deal with in their entire lives, and they are trusting it with us. And so, you know, I know for my own personal self, that just, the trust and the confidence that someone is putting in you to deal with the most valuable thing that they will ever do in their entire lives is huge. And it's something that, you know, we have to foster and respect and run with. And so you guys have shared some great things. Let's talk about reviews. I know that, you know, everyone loves you. So how do you ask for reviews? When do you ask for reviews, and how do you do it? Do you have a system? Do you ask? Do you come out and ask? Do you have an automatic survey? Because a lot of times, you know, it can be hard for new agents to ask for the business, and then it can be hard for new agents or seasoned agents. You know, I have a hard time asking my clients to review me after the transaction. So what do you guys do for reviews?
And if you could keep your answers to 60 seconds, since we're just kidding. Put all of that in 60
Not just
seconds.
kidding. For me specifically, I actually do not wait to the end of the transaction. I do it in the middle of the transaction, and I ask them, are you having a 5-star experience? And if you're not, what can I do differently to gain your 5 stars at the end of our time together during this transaction? And then usually it's, oh no, it was amazing, whatever. And then I make sure that I get the review right then and there. I send them a whole list of links, and I say, just write it, copy, paste it, and, so email.
You have to do halfway to make sure everybody's on track.
Yeah, because I try to make the whole sale process an experience, you know. They get a certain gift after a certain point. Like, so I'm not the agent that show up at the end with the closing gift, because a lot of times those are forgotten. But those things of how you made people feel throughout the process tends to carry over a little bit longer. And so the reviews tend to be a lot, you know, stronger, because they don't mind going the extra mile.
Thank you.
For me, I actually, during my initial consultation, I always tell my clients, I'm going to give you the worst case scenario in everything. I am not butterflies and rainbows. The world's coming to an end. And I need you to come up with a game plan. So we need to sit down and figure out what we're gonna do if all hell breaks loose. So at the end, when everything comes out great, I'm going to look like God to you. And you're gonna let everybody know. So at the end of the transaction, I have Real Satisfied that's already set up, so that automatically goes out to them. But I'm asking them also to give me and that I usually goes on my website. But I'm also asking them, can you go on Google? Now, I have a couple clients that have actually given me Yelp reviews. I'm like, I'm not a Yelp guy, but okay. But I try to get them to at least go to Google and give me a Google review as well.
I have a link to Google review in my email signature, so it goes to everybody. And what's so interesting is kind of randomly, past clients will go on and write a review, which is kind of cool. I'm trying to get better at it as well, asking for the reviews. So I guess so far the reviews coming in truly are just people doing it on their own. So I know that's something I am working on that. Our company has an automatic review that goes out, but it doesn't go anywhere except feedback to us. So one thing I'm focused on now and literally working on it with my marketing director is video reviews. I think that is the future. But having a very specific order of questions and how the review needs to go. So I'm actually working on that right now. And one of the other questions was about marketing, just in general. We're changing our, and when I say we, I have a team, so just so you know, we're changing our focus in marketing completely over to just video testimonials. That is the tool we are using for marketing. We're not talking about how great we are anymore. We're talking about our clients. And I think that's the future too. So if you don't get the reviews, you need to find a way to do it because that's the future of marketing in real estate.
Great. Thank you guys so much. I mean, this is invaluable resources that everyone has shared.
Yes,
We have